Let's have a property tour, shall we? Brian Lebo here, and today we're back out at MacDonald Highlands. We're at SkyVu by Christopher Homes. Now, if you've been watching for a while, you may recall back in winter of last year, I had Christopher Homes, they had me come out, film their showcase home. And I have to tell you, it is absolutely astonishing. It's incredible. It has every bell and whistle you would ever want. Just amazing, 1,000 square feet larger, a larger backyard, but it's more than twice the price of the home that we're going to see today in the same neighborhood. So the question I have for you in the audience is, for twice the price, you're always gonna pick that home as the showcase home for sure, so that's reductive, but for twice the price, is this a better value, or would you actually spend $5 million more and get the showcase home? Today, I'm gonna show you what a real production home looks like and show you the value that you're getting out of this actual property. Now, if you're interested in purchasing a Christopher home, MacDonald Highlands, or just Las Vegas luxury in general, please feel free to reach me direct. All my information is in the description below. Now, let's get on with the tour. Now, the main floor of this entire home consists of 12 by 24 inch porcelain tile. So very modern, has a very nice, beautiful, neutral tone to it, and it's in a column stack formation. But like we always do, we're gonna start off in the kitchen here. So Christopher does some really unique kitchen islands, very different than some of the other home builders, and I really tend to love what they do. So you'll notice that here we have effectively two islands, or maybe an extension of the island. And so this portion is elevated above the main island, and we have bar stool seating for 5. Really unique, really cool, very modern. We also have a 3-inch edge profile because, of course, this is a full custom fabrication for the counter surface. We even have a little reverse waterfall return on the back side of this island. And then on the apron side, you'll see that it's sheathed in the same cabinetry that we're going to see in a moment. And of course, modern architecture, we do have a contemporary waterfall return on both sides of the main island. So let's come back here a little bit farther. Let's talk about the cabinetry and then check out a little bit more of the kitchen. So you're gonna notice that we have contrasting cabinetry. So the upper cabinetry, a real clean look. So we do have the TFL thermally fused laminate cabinetry. These are all pure white, has a nice veneer to it, a nice texture for the grain. And then the lower cabinets, here we have more of a natural wood veneer. So really nice, love the contrast. You can see that they finished it with a waterfall return on the back side of the kitchen counter surface as well. As we move a little bit farther back, you'll notice that they created a backsplash, extended it up to the upper cabinetry, and this is a large format porcelain tile that looks like marble. So really, really neat. You know what, while we're here, let's just finish up this area real quick. So another unique feature that you may be noticing, one, yes, I know we always debate dishwashers, pot fillers. Yes, we don't have a pot filler. Part of the reason is the design aesthetic for a lot of the Christopher homes is to have this beautiful and minimal back of the kitchen. I really do love the design philosophy, so it kind of mucks it up a little bit with the pot filler. And you'll notice, further keeping the simplicity, we don't have an above ventilation hood. So typically we'll have a commercial style ventilation hood that matches the cooktop or the grill top. Here, they went with more of a minimal approach. So here we have a 36-inch Wolf cooktop. And what's kind of neat is, like I just alluded to, instead of having a commercial style ventilation hood, here we have front mounted controls built into the cabinetry, and this controls the downdraft ventilation. So this deploys from the back of the cooktop and still provides the same functionality effectively as a typical ventilation hood, and you get this nice simple background look. Now, coming back to the island, once again, we have that same matching lower cabinetry veneer. And yes, the one criticism we have, we only have one dishwasher, kind of a recurring theme with a lot of the Christopher homes, but I'm sure I'm the only weirdo. I'm sure you'll be just fine. Now, one thing that I really do love is when you are here at the sink, preparing food in the kitchen and cooking, you have a perfect sight line from the kitchen to where the television would be. Again, with man brain, that is very important. But what's also neat is this is all one open area. So if your family's on the sofa hanging out, you're still part of the conversation. You're not sequestered in a little cove around the corner. Really love that feature. All right, so beautiful kitchen. We come down a little bit farther. Over here on the right side, you're gonna see our refrigeration. So very clean, love the cabinetry, the built-in framed refrigeration. We do have a Sub-Zero on a 70-30 split, 70 refrigeration, 70 freezer function, really neat. Now this is one quirk that I can't really recall seeing. I thought this was kind of an oddity. So while it's beautiful that they finished the counter surface with a waterfall return, you end up with this little vacant space, this alcove, if you will. Now, this would make the most sense to either have a sculpture with maybe some illumination or maybe a plant. Kind of reminds me of Homer Simpson hiding in the hedges over here, insert that B-roll. But then coming down a little bit farther, over here on the right side is our walk-in pantry. And then over here on the left, we have our built-in Wolf oven. And then directly above it, we have our built-in Wolf microwave oven. So really nice, clean, adjacent to the kitchen area, but totally gets the job done. Now, extended cabinetry on the right side of it. And then behind me here, we have the garage. So this is your entry from the garage. Now we have a 3-car garage, 2 separate bays. So we have a 2-car bay and a single car bay, epoxy flooring, glass garage doors, everything that you would want and expect in a luxury garage. Now, coming out of this kitchen area, we enter into the breakfast nook area. And I even hate to call this a breakfast nook because this is such a wonderful space. So you can clearly see we have these sliders. So if you wanted to have a nice breakfast over here, sit down, a little more traditional, while you're sitting, you can see unobstructed views of the entire Las Vegas Strip. I can see the majority of the entire Las Vegas Valley. And on a day like today where it's relatively clear, absolutely sensational. We also have ingress and egress to over in this direction, which is underneath the patio cover that is right by the family room. Speaking of family room, let's check out this family room. So coming into the family room area, I believe the entire downstairs, I believe the ceiling is about 12 feet high. So it's very spacious considering we're not in a single story. But this is the showstopper right here. So here we have a 20-foot slider that brings us right outside. And again, you have all of these beautiful city views. You've got the strip off to the left, just an amazing vibe. And at night with all the city lights sparkling, this would just be absolutely incredible to enjoy. Now, coming down a little bit further, Christopher does a wonderful job of their media walls. And here I would say this is kind of framed for you to put your own signature touch on it. So while the backside, all of this is just normal drywall, you can obviously choose your own veneer if you wanted to take this up a notch. But we do have a beautiful hearth that's composed of this darker gray quartz surface. And then we have the matching mantle above here. And then what's neat is typically we're seeing electric fireplaces, the Dimplex XL Ignite, my favorite, but this is obviously on a higher level. So here we have a 72-inch linear fireplace by Heat and Glow. So much more expensive, but also a little bit more bespoke at this price range. Now you can see over here on the wall, we have illumination for our wall art. We have this little area over here. This would be perfect to have a dry bar, plummet for a wet bar, and it's right by the family room area. So wonderful. All right. We're back to kind of where we started the tour. Obviously, we have the staircase that leads to the upper 2 floors, but first let's check out the powder bathroom, or the half bathroom for some of you guys. Now, one thing we're gonna talk about first is right here, we do have an elevator. So whatever you think of elevators, here, I would say this actually makes a tremendous amount of sense because this is a 3-story home. So let's say you're gonna have people over and you're gonna use the loft that we'll see later on the 3rd floor, have some balcony action, dragging a case of water and all the beverages and food up 2 flights of stairs. Yeah, that's gonna get tiresome. So here you can just load up the elevator, take it up to the 3rd floor. It's gonna be a lot easier instead of traversing those staircases. Now, back here. So back to the half bathroom, beautiful. So this is more for your guests. We've got a floating vanity, quartz counter surface, above mount sink, beautiful decorative lighting, and then they have two accent walls that are composed of this large format porcelain tile, and it really just tones up this bathroom, makes it feel a lot more regal and rich. Really love it. Okay, over here, this is a different perspective of how we approach the property. So here we have this beautiful glass wall, which encompasses the front door. And this is actually on the front left side of the property. And I really do like this because you do have that security gate where we started from. So no one can ever even approach the actual dwelling in the front door and look into your property because they're obstructed by that front security gate. So kind of a really neat feature. Now, last but not least, we have the executive office right by the front. So right over here, we have our security gate. We have this curtain wall full of glass, and this here is actually a slider. So we can open this up and get a little bit more natural air in. But love this space as an executive office. All right, guys, we've now finished the entire first floor. We've got 2 more floors to see before we finish up in the backyard. So meet me on the second floor and let's check out what's going on up there. All right, guys, welcome to the second floor. So over here on the right side, these are the stairs that I just came up. And then obviously you can see the staircase that leads us to the third floor, which we'll see momentarily. Now, we're gonna start off first in the primary suite. So walking into the primary suite, one of the first things you notice about the second floor is we still have 10-foot high ceilings. So really lovely to have in a 3-story home. But again, the reason you're buying this property is the views, and these are the views from the primary suite. So the first thing you see when you open your eyes in the morning is the entire city. And again, at night, these views will be just absolutely incredible. Another thing that's neat is right here, we have access to this large balcony, and we also have access from the bathroom behind the tub, which you're gonna see in a moment, which is super trick. All right, now let's actually head towards the bathroom. So coming down this hallway, we have this alcove here, which we could actually use for like a dry bar, your morning bar, maybe an additional linen closet. Really neat. Let's start off over here. So coming into the bathroom, what we just alluded to was access to this massive balcony. So we have this floating bathtub, we have the balcony right behind it. But what's amazing is you could actually be in the bathtub and while you're in the tub, look out and see the entire Las Vegas Strip. Just an incredible reminder. Now, let's check out the shower, because even this is pretty neat. So walking into the shower, very large, beautiful marble mosaic tile shower pan. We have his and her shower heads. And once again, utilizing the greatest feature of this property, the views, we have this massive window pane with unobstructed views of the entire valley. So absolutely wonderful. All right, coming over this direction, let's check out the vanity. So first off, we have a very large vanity, floating, downward firing LED illumination. We have 2 undermount Kohler sinks, and even the mirrors are pretty cool. So here we have LED fired front illumination, and then we have LED with a cool blue light backfiring illumination for a little bit of a mood access. Now over here we have our makeup vanity, and one thing that's really neat, Blue Heron is probably the best at this, but right here, if you were to do your makeup, the reflection in the mirror is showing you the entire city. So if you're getting ready for a night on the town, once again, another amazing reminder that you're living in Las Vegas and you're literally above the entire city. Really neat. Coming down this hallway, over here on the left side, we have our water closet, we have a linen closet, but let's see the real closet. Now, walking in, very spacious, very large, all custom cabinetry. You can see right here, they extended and put in an island in the closet. So more than sufficient, really lovely. All right, let's get out of the primary suite and let's see 2 of the secondary bedrooms and the laundry room. So follow me. All right, so into this hallway, directly below us here, this is the entry that we came in from the front door. And this, we talked about earlier, the elevator. So once again, really nice to be able to have this elevator to traverse all 3 floors of the property. Now, directly across from the elevator is the laundry room. And there's one thing in here that I really love. So very neutral. Even the cabinetry has more of a linen relief to it. Instead of like the grain veneer that we saw downstairs in the rest of the cabinetry. But here in the laundry room, I love the fact that Christopher has brought back skylights. So above us, we have a large skylight that gives all of this natural light. You have your washer and dryer hookups, and for the dryer function, you have your choice of either using a 240 or gas. So kind of nice there. All right. Over here, we have one of the two secondary bedrooms on the second floor. So coming in, we still preserve the 10-foot high ceilings. Over here to the right, we have our bathroom. And one of the things that I love about this bathroom, so you have floating vanity, singular toilet, but even in this shower, we have a large skylight. So again, to be able to take a shower, not even turn on any lighting, and just get, you know, a little down firing light from the sun, really, really cool, really organic. And right here, we have a nice size slider. This is over the actual garage. So this is facing the front of the property. And again, we have this massive cliff. So very, very private. Coming around a little bit, we do have our walk-in closet over here. So a good sized walk-in closet. We've got nice drop-down pendant lights for a little accent mood. But let's go across the hallway. Let's check out this secondary bedroom, because this secondary bedroom is a little bit more bespoke. So we have a larger walk-in closet here, same 10-foot high ceilings, but now you're gonna see why this one's a little bit of a higher level. So we have a balcony option now on the front of the property. So once again, we have our cliff. It's beautiful, it's very quiet. But now check out the bathroom. So coming into the bathroom, instead of having one singular vanity, now we have a much larger double vanity. So we have two sinks, very lovely, tons of natural light overlooking the front of the house. We have our water closet over here. And then this is a much nicer shower. So this shower is a little bit larger. And then right above me, once again, we've got a large skylight. So it feels like you're in a spa. It really does feel like you're in a spa. It's very, very different than your prototypical shower. All right, we have now seen the first floor. We've completed the second floor. Meet me upstairs. Let's see what's going on the third floor. All right, guys, welcome to the third floor. And this brings us into this massive loft. So this is your game room. This is your movie theater. This is your super duper executive office. Let's just call this a flex space. Now, behind me, if we come down this corridor and around the corner, this gives us access to the elevator that we've talked about ad nauseum. But let's talk about the wet bar. So here we have refrigeration. We do have our sink, which makes this a wet bar. And we have a dedicated ice maker, floating shelves, just everything you would want to make this a perfect game room action, if you will. Now, once again, that recurring theme about this property are the views. So being on the third floor, we're at the highest point of elevation in the property. So this is going to provide us with the greatest views. So while these views are somewhat the same, now that we're on the third floor, we can actually see overall the rooftops of the adjacent homes. So now we can see all the way over into Mountain's Edge and Southern Highlands over in the southwest. So truly full obstructed views of the entire valley. Coming back in, let's see what's going on down here. So over here on the left side, again, since this is kind of an entertaining space, this is the dedicated half bathroom for the loft. So we transition to more of this walnut wood that we just saw at the wet bar. Quartz counter surface, undermount sink, the same large format porcelain tile that looks like marble that we saw downstairs in the original half bathroom. But this is pretty neat. So behind me, this is a secondary bedroom, but much like the secondary bedroom that we saw on the second floor, this is on another level. So this is, I would say, is on the highest level. In most properties, this would constitute the primary suite. So right here, we have a slider that opens. We have all those same views that we've talked about over and over. Perfect sightline from the bed to this alcove area where the display is supposed to go. Still, we have the 10-foot high ceilings on the third floor, but check out this bathroom. Like I said, in most normal homes, this is the primary suite. So we have a dedicated makeup vanity over here by itself. But then when we come into the actual bathroom, you can see we have a floating double vanity. So we transition back to that same veneer for the cabinetry that we saw in the lower cabinets in the kitchen. We have two undermount sinks, kind of an ivory quartz counter surface, really nice. Over here, you can see we walk right in, we have a walk-in closet. And then coming down a little bit farther, we have a dedicated water closet for the toilet. And then we have a very spacious walk-in shower. So this is an amazing secondary bedroom. And depending on the purpose, you actually have a dedicated living room for whoever's occupying the space, if that's something of interest. All right, guys, we've seen the main floor, the second floor, and we've just finished the third floor. All we have left is to go outside, check out the pool, and take in a little bit more of those views. So meet me down and let's check out this backyard. All right, guys, welcome to the backyard. So first off, we have beautiful pavers to create the patio, and then directly above us is the patio cover. And we do have pre-wired for distributed audio. So if you wanted some tunes out here, you can knock yourself out. Really lovely. All right, we're gonna come over and talk about the outdoor kitchen. But first off, we do have some pre-wiring, kind of a funny one, but you do have Cat 6 and you have your cable hookup. So this would be perfect to have an articulating mount, have a television display come out here. So this way you could eat al fresco, maybe have a sofa set up, enjoy some entertainment outside. Wonderful. Now, over here, we have our outdoor kitchen. So we have our top of the line Coyote barbecue grill, we have refrigeration, and we have this large format porcelain tile encompassing the actual barbecue island. Really lovely. Tons of artificial turf, so safe for the kids, great for the fur babies. Deuce would absolutely go crazy out here and love it. But let's talk about the pool. So first off, we have a self-cleaning PebbleTech pool, beautiful. We have this massive Baja shelf, so you can easily get 4 chaise lounges, perfectly articulated so you can see the city lights. And we even have a cavity here so you can put an umbrella so you can get additional shade if you don't need a tan like me. Keeping it moving, I do love the shape of the pool because this allows you to actually utilize it for some exercise. You can get some laps in, and again, swim up to the edge, and you're literally overlooking the entire Las Vegas Strip and city. Just never gets old. We do have the elevated jacuzzi with the waterfall feature. And what's even cooler is behind the jacuzzi here, we do have a gas fire pit feature. So at night, you've got the city views in front of you. You've got the fire feature behind you illuminating. Just incredible. Well, guys, now that we've seen this entire property, tell me what you think if you did watch the other video. And like I said earlier, there should be a link above, there should be a link in the description, but I am really interested in your thoughts. Value-wise, is there a value to spending more than twice this amount to buy the showcase home? Would you put more money into this home at less than half the price? I love this property and these views are absolutely just incredible. That is the main feature of being up here in MacDonald Highlands, Ascaya, and the adjacent communities, is you have the best views in all of Las Vegas. So just incredible. Special thanks to Tracy Bilek for allowing me to film this beautiful listing. And if you are interested in any Las Vegas luxury real estate, please be sure to give me a call. All my information is in the description below. Until then, stay tuned for next week. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you then. Deuces.